What is going on, everybody? Septimus in South Beach back at it. We've got MisterMan versus 5.0 Suit Samus versus Lucas. Now, this is a matchup that I'm not sure I've ever seen before, to be honest. So I think this is going to be a really intense matchup as both these players relatively close quarters and close combat, but Lucas can play from a little bit further away and play a little bit more safe than a Zero Suit Samus can afford to.
Exactly, and Lucas has a little height advantage with his shortness because we see with tall characters, it's really hard for them to go against short characters because the hitboxes are hard to hit. So we'll see. We'll see how what's his name, MisterMan, is going to go up against the short Lucas character in 5 points. Right now, it's going to look like a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. MisterMan, keep in mind, last time we saw him last week, he ended up getting that 2-0 victory over there it is from Wichita State. So hopefully looking to carry on that streak today. And now you can see the score at the bottom. We're tied 5-5. So these players really got it all put out on the table here to make sure that they come out on top of this victory for their teams.
Man,
oh, and MisterMan gonna make it an early lead. Exactly a minute off the clock and one stock already gone. MisterMan 102% and 5 points already on their second stock.
Exactly, and one thing to keep in mind between both these characters, they're both fast, and once you hit them at least over 100, maybe even over 90, it's not hard to get a stock off of them. So now,
absolutely.
MisterMan took the early lead, and he's making sure his percentage doesn't go way too higher than it needs to be.
Absolutely. Now, if I were 5 points here, now, of course, this player would probably dunk on me any day of the week, but if I was playing Lucas in this scenario up against 130% Zero Suit Samus, I would recommend that just simply go for a back throw. Lucas's back throw is incredibly strong. It's relatively easy to land with that grapple or with that extended grab, and I mean, it's a very low-risk attempt. There's definitely some vulnerability hitboxes, but I think if you can find that back throw, you can tie things up. Now we see 5 points in that moment of desperation, danger close to getting 3 stocked here. Really gonna have to start busting out maybe some more risky moves, some cheekier moves.
Exactly. Don't be afraid. If I'm 5 points, I wouldn't be afraid to spam a little bit. I mean, you're not Ness, so like the PK Fire obviously isn't the best bet, but I would say, you know, the PK Freeze is a really good way to just get MisterMan off the stage, get a good stock off him. Really just find an opening for a smash attack. That's what I would say for 5 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. Simply, it could be a dash attack, a smash attack, anything to really open up, maybe into a combo, into a grab, like I said, even a PK freeze, a PK fire, either of those could really start to put the pressure on. And something we're seeing from 5 points relatively that is super smart is they're covering the recovery options from MisterMan by using that recovery, that lightning ball, to really focus in on certain areas and only giving MisterMan one way to get back up.
Ooh.
Oh, but no, it's going to be, oh, just kidding. Good DI in favor of 5 points. 104% on the clock here, 150 now. Oh, but in the ground. Yeah, the recovery, that's all it takes. That's going to be a 3-stock victory for MisterMan. The beast is here, and they are here to put it on the table. MisterMan, a phenomenal 3-stock coming out, 5 points. Got to be a little bit scared. If I were them, I'd be shaking in my boots for sure.
Yeah, 5 points didn't really have an answer for really any of MisterMan's attacks. Obviously, MisterMan actually... From me, he looked like he had a pattern to the whole match. Like with the last stock, want to get him down to the ground, spike him, make sure to quickly end the match. The first one didn't work well, but then that second one, that was deadly as it could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just playing against a Zero Suit Samus, you're at 80, 90%. If you get stuck in the ground like that, say your prayers. With the few seconds you have left to live on that stock, say your prayers, because the Zero Suit Samus gets you stuck in the ground, you're already dead. I mean, that's really what it is. ZSS is a force to be reckoned with, a character unlike many others, because for a long time in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, you couldn't just play Zero Suit Samus. You could play regular Samus, use that Smash Ball, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. There was a whole bunch of steps and whatnot to play that ZSS. But as she became a more aggressive, more consistent hero and character that can be played, people have really begun to figure out the force she is to be reckoned with.
Exactly. Her aerials are so good, and then her speed is another thing to keep in note when playing against Zero Suit Samus. She's not the fastest character, but she's pretty quick, she's pretty dodgy. You can't really it's pretty hard to lay a hit on her, so you gotta be on your toes. Play the range game. If I'm 5 points, I would probably switch to a character with a little bit better range than Lucas does. If he's going to stick with Lucas, you got to work in some more range attacks.
Yeah, you've got to work in some more ranged attacks. I think that's a fantastic observation. I think I said this in our first matchup of the day as well. We need more shield. 5 points took so much unnecessary damage because they were air dodging quite a lot, but we didn't see a lot of shield coming through, and I think that, of course, would help any player at the end of the day, myself included. When I play this game, I have shield like not bound basically, and now we're gonna see the first swap of the day, something we haven't seen yet quite today. A lot of players taking their first matchup to the grave, but now we're gonna see 5 points swap onto Robin, an even heavier projectile-based character up against MisterMan's Zero Suit Samus.
Exactly, and Robin has a similar fire move to Ness, not Lucas, but Ness, because when she launches that whatever fireball it is, well, I don't remember the move, but it gives enough damage just like Ness. Like that was the move right there. Now 5 points just needs to lay a hit on it.
Absolutely. Now, we already see, I mean, this is, for the time being, already closer, but MisterMan not dropping the combo quite yet, getting 5 points all the way up to 71% in the grave. Going to be able to miss that up air in the move set there. The jump from 5 points goes a little bit lower than expected. And now the aggression coming out time and time again, projectile versus projectile. MisterMan having to play that long game, having to constantly try to get behind 5 points, because running right into a Robin is nothing but a death sentence. And now 5 points finally getting to land what feels like the first hit in a very long time. Looking to use these projectiles to really open up the space and get aggressive as soon as possible. MisterMan not giving them a time to breathe and a moment to think. 5 points already up to 107% on that first stock. MisterMan only 50 on their first.
And there's that first stock from MisterMan, giving it to 5 points. And definitely we're seeing 5 points play the range game a lot better. But now he just needs to land hits, because we're not seeing a lot of hits go through with 5 points. So hopefully land your special attacks on them, because they're all the range attacks. He hasn't landed a single fireball yet, so we need to see more fireball action.
Yeah, at the very beginning, I said this was looking a lot better for 5 points, but I think it's actually looking worse, because by the time, oh my, through the platform and everything. As I say, it's looking worse. I'm going to call that a mild caster curse. Definitely not a good look for 5 points, as they're already down to their last stock. MisterMan, if they're able to secure 2 back-to-back 3 stocks, that is going to put Mississippi State in the lead by a notable margin.
Yeah, MisterMan really just is figuring out 5 points right now. I think MisterMan has pretty good knowledge on all these characters. He handled the switch pretty well. It looks like he knows how to deal with a Robin pretty well, because he's been avoiding those ranged attacks. He knows that the range is going to get him pretty well, because Zero Suit is best close quarters, and he's just props to MisterMan.
Absolutely. 2 back-to-back 3 stocks. And while we don't award match MVPs here at EGF, I mean, MisterMan is an MVP if I've ever seen one. Absolutely took that matchup and demolished it. A phenomenal look so far, not only for Mississippi State, as they have secured their lead once again, but for MisterMan as a whole. I mean, we've seen some great plays from Mississippi State today, but nothing like that.
Exactly. The rest of the league just needs to take note of MisterMan's abilities with Zero Suit Samus. I'll tell you what. He knows all the moves in and out, and knows the best way to just end the match.
Absolutely a force to be reckoned with. Clearly, no matter who you play against, we've seen MisterMan since the spring split has started, has had 2 matchups, and has not dropped a single set so far. So we're seeing MisterMan on a rampage all their own, and okay, not through the platform, now that we're seeing that one slowed down, but a nasty play nonetheless. I mean, Mississippi State, they are on fire today. The question's going to be, can they keep that momentum going? You guys are going to have to stick around to find out. We're going to throw it to a quick break until we can get our next 2 players in here, but I mean, this has been nothing but intense. Like I said, don't go far. There's so much Smash Bros left to be played. We'll see you guys in just a minute.